Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to another TIRZA'S Tarot Tuesday, a bit late already. It's 20 to 11 in the evening. Yeah, I had such a full day and it was absolutely wonderful. I started it off with having a coffee chat with my wonderful friend, Asa Nielsen, who is, I've mentioned her before, the Swedish death cleaner. Then I had, what else? Then I had some homework I had to do for something for a hypnotherapy session, which was then also. Then I had to do some homework after. Then I was on a course by Natasha Lee Bray, which is called Heal Her. The course I'm doing at the moment is like a 10-day course. And yeah, and as soon as that was finished, I had to rush out because my son and his girlfriend came by, picked us up. We went to an Indian restaurant with my youngest also as well. So who will be 14? Sorry, she will be 17 on the 14th. So yeah, she's nearly 17 now. Yeah, and I started to do something for Lisa Fox's one, go deeper into my astrology course, learn some more and study some more on there as well. So lots of stuff happening. Lisa Fox has a 60 school, I think it's called, and the course I'm doing with her is a 6-figure queen movement at the moment. So yeah, totally excited. So much to do. Tomorrow's more going on. Did I mention the 3-day course with Teal Swan, Road to Resolve? That was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's so much fun. I love it. Anyway, yeah, so that's why I'm a bit late here, but I'm here better late than never, isn't it? And we'll see what we get here. Oh, and I finished my Hecate book, or Hecate, depending on how you'd like to pronounce that, Goddess of Witches, and it's absolutely bloody brilliant, so I will still have to kind of make a little something about that. Let's see. Durga, we've got Durga for this week. That's the one who was created by the gods because they couldn't defeat the king of demons. And yeah, they needed girl power, yeah, woman power, queen power, goddess power to do that. So she rode into battle on a tiger. Sometimes that's also depicted as a lion, and with like 10 arms and having a weapon in each, a different weapon in each of her hands, that sort of thing. So she is power personified, really. She's the one that is not hidden, but you can't really grasp her. So she's like the goddess of life and death, and she is fierce, she is powerful, she is total leadership qualities as well. You can read up more on my website, tirzaschaefer.com/goddesses, or if you want to go to Durga directly, because on the goddesses page, you've got a whole list of, to pick from. If you want to go straight to Durga, you just put in tirzaschaefer.com/Durga, or whichever other goddess you might want to read up on. And yeah, that's so we've got some really powerful stuff here going on, and out with the old, in with the new, really take no shit kind of energy. Yeah, so, and let's see what the tarot cards tell us, okay, for the coming week. And remember, this is a general reading. It's not for everybody, so everything is not for everybody. So just, take whatever resonates with you, leave the rest. come back, have a look again at the, at the end of the week, and have a look at how that is, how that is working out with what you've experienced, what you've learned, any kind of wisdom bits that you've gained, or just happy times, sad times, whatever. Yeah, self-reflection is always really good. It's not always just the other's fault, is it? Me being on a total trip with self-development at the moment, like really intensely. I mean, I've done self-development, obviously, like basically for all my life, but as a child I didn't even know I was doing it. But yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. It can be painful, it can be difficult, highly uncomfortable as well, but when you get out the other end of whatever you're working on and the layer you're working on, because it never stops, and you look back and see your progress, like where you used to be and where you are now and where you're going, that's really cool. It's a really cool feeling when you go like, yeah. So celebrate your victories, enjoy the ride, the journey through life. The journey is really an important thing, because that's where you really pick up the wisdom, the life experience, the wisdom, the reflection, what you gain from that, the lessons and all that, and then you can also help others along the way, which is wonderful. So let us see. We start with death. Actually, before I started shuffling this deck for like 20 minutes, as I tend to do sometimes, it was at the bottom and now it was right at the top. So there you go. Funny, isn't it? And the Knight of Swords is the last card. Sorry, but that fell out when I started shuffling as well. It just fell out. Yeah, so definitely double whammy here. And the middle one is the Five of Wands. So let's start with death. Okay, we're not being morbid, but that goes with Dogga as well. It's the end of an era, an end of a phase, an end of a cycle. It's sudden and it's irreversible. Things will never be the same again. But transformation is the key word here. Not like, oh God, somebody's going to croak or something, This is like something new is happening now. Is about to, because you're just closing on something. Okay, this is totally over now, and that can be a really good thing in some places, in some instances or contexts. And obviously change is always scary, very scary, because we tend to feel most comfortable with what we are most familiar with, obviously. But there's no growth where you don't go out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's just like, it's really like a sledgehammer thing, and that is certainly something that is really usually very profound, fairly to highly intense as you're going through that. But there's always so much wisdom to be gained. There's so much new to discover. As I said, I mean, for example, if you're a woman in an abusive relationship and you decide enough is enough, I'm walking out, I'm getting help and whatever, and this phase of my life is over, and I'm never ever going to let somebody else do that to me. I mean, the death card is the best you could ever get, because that's like, you left that behind you, right? So, extreme example, but sometimes things are extreme. So that is really something, and it's also about, if you go within yourself, it's like, don't be afraid to let go of stuff. Don't be afraid to make a decision and stick to it, and put your foot down and set those boundaries, and say, even for yourself, not just for other people on the outside, but for yourself as well. Say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do that shit anymore, or I'm not going to allow this to happen to me anymore, with a view on yourself rather than like, oh, that person did, or I won't allow that person to do anything anymore. But like in general for yourself, how do you look at yourself? How do you honor yourself? Right? And when you decide enough is enough, this is over now, I've just finished this and I'm really, really fucking done. I want something new and this is over. That's the death card just as much as well. So that's a transformational point where, allow yourself the gentleness and compassion of grieving your losses and whatever, and feeling into the discomfort of the change. But don't be discouraged, because there is so much wonderful to be discovered on the other side of that. Okay, you might know already what's coming. You might even have graduated just now, so your time as a student is over. For example, for us it's like this week, the end of the school year here in Germany, so in North Rhine-Westphalia actually, because it varies from federal state to the other. But that can be that as well. It's like that is over. You will never be in that grade again, or whatever. So that can be another thing. Maybe you graduated. Now it's like, okay, what am I going to do now? And so lots of things happening, but they are profound. The major arcana cards, they always, well, most of the time, usually. I wouldn't say 100% always, but usually it also depends what you look at, but it always reflects mostly something that is more profound, that is really something that affects your life on some level, rather than just this moment in time, this one particular issue or something, And then we have the Five of Wands, struggle and strife, but that's like, I want to win at all costs. It can be jealousy, it can be, just competition, and but not in a healthy way, but, looking at others as like, oh, I want to best them and whatever, rather than saying, I want to be my best self. Which is a big difference, guys, a big, big difference, okay? So there's another thing, but you might be struggling with yourself and thinking about, okay, well, I've got options, what am I going to do now? This phase has ended, and then you're like, inside of you in turmoil, and you're going, no, this, or maybe no, that, and you might not be able to decide, and have a lack of inspiration, but you feel under pressure because, you maybe have to apply for a job, or maybe you have to do this, that, or the other, and there's a time limit to that, and it's some sort of a deadline, or, or you have to struggle to find something. Like if you want to apply for a job and there are like 30 others applying for the same job, that might be something, and you might feel the need to resort to practices that are not really so nice, like that elbow thing, and win at all costs, but it's never a real win unless everybody wins. Okay, and not getting a job can sometimes be a win as well, because that's like, if it's not for you, if you've given your best and it's not for you and it doesn't really resonate, then be happy in the end that you didn't get that one. Find something that is better suited for you, just as an example. But this is like also, obviously, on a global platform, we might have a bit of an outburst in places. So war, violence, death, stuff like that can happen as well. Maybe a bit more this week. Also the Knight of Swords that comes here, that looks very like, oh, I'm attacking, so it can also be on a personal level, like be careful that you don't, in a context with Durga, with death, and with 501s, is like you might feel the need to go into battle, and obviously with the swords, that's very verbal, but it can also be obviously be strategic, and like some sort of an attack, a violent attack in some way. But on a personal level, we tend to have our arguments verbally, isn't it? So but you might want to be careful about what you say and how you say it. And you can rush in and go like, well, I've got the best argument, and you just want to argue somebody down and convince them of your point of view. Instead, take a step back and listen to the other person. You don't have to agree to listen and to try and understand them, where they're coming from. That doesn't mean you have to agree with or condone whatever they're doing, thinking, or it's two different things. But trying to understand somebody, where they're coming from, what their needs, worries, thoughts, and ideas, whatever are, that helps, and that will also make you learn. But it also means when you see something that is like, when you're really in the face of injustice, do something constructive about it, and don't just sit back and do nothing. Okay, and I'm talking about taking action, not just sharing on your social media, whatever. Everybody knows what's going on anyway, quite frankly. If you have a bigger channel, or profile, whatever, wider reach, that would make sense, to reach more people. But something small like this, for example, if I've got like 20 people watching that, and I know them, and I know what's going on in the world, I don't need to regurgitate that here. But what I'm saying is, take some action, and think about what you're doing, but then take some inspired action. Don't let that kind of energy, that anger, that hatred, that it's like, you're hurting me and I want to hurt you back, and I want to hurt you more, and I'm going to destroy you so you can never again in your life do whatever, that kind of energy, that doesn't help. We are all one, and we all need to heal, and it's only hurt people who hurt people. Okay, if you're a really happy person and you have that, obviously, you can't keep that up 24/7. There will always be instances where, where you have negative feelings, but of emotions of some sort or another. That happens, obviously, but don't act on them all the time. Like, just go like, that's like rabble rousing. That's doesn't mean that you don't care. Take a step back and think about, okay, what's the best and most efficient and most effective type of action I can take right now, which really has the highest potential of reaching a positive result. Okay, and it's helping other people, and it comes from a place of love instead of anger, rage, fear, that sort of thing, because that, if you put that kind of energy in there, it's just going to make it worse, right? Because you have like this accumulation of so many people feeling something like that, and that can really tilt the scale one way or the other. But try and keep it more in balance, and put some good energy in, and take action on that, but with that kind of intention. For example, I am pro-peace and not anti-war. Anti-war is like being against something. Obviously there will be, but it's a different concept. You would think it's the same thing. I'm for peace. It's like something, that's where I'm going to put my energy in. That's the kind of intention and the kind of energy I want to, bring forth from me to the world, that I want to contribute. No, not like, because that's a struggle, that's an argument, that's a fight, that's a splitting up of not understanding that on a very basic fundamental level we're all one, because we're all made of the same stuff, right? All that matrix stuff, that energy, we're all made up of the same energy. We are all the same. Doesn't mean we think, act, look, do, feel the same. But in that sense, we are the same. We are just different expressions. And once people understand and heal enough to understand that we are actually all connected, that is the point when the scale tips. Not who's got the biggest, biggest weapons, or anything like that, or can hurt somebody else the most. That is just so low vibrational, and so, well, obviously to a certain extent so horrific, that it just hurts the whole world, and obviously physically also, and traumatizing mentally and emotionally people on a grand scale where that happens. But that has so many ripple effects around the world as well. And there's not only one place in the world where that's happening. The news, the media, the mainstream media, they go like, oh, at the moment something happens in this country, and then you don't hear from it anymore, and then suddenly it's another country or something, and they, as long as it's interesting for them, they will keep it up, and then you kind of forget about it, or you don't. So are you being led by the media, or are you looking at things yourself and independent of what you're being force-fed as well, which is very important. Let me just have an example. Myanmar. How many people of you know what that is? It's a country in Asia. What's going on there? They've got a military regime. They are actually killing off people there as well, certain minorities, people who are against that regime. They very militant. They're trying to force young people into the military to join them, but they're running away in droves, and they're joining the rebels, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Lots of people have been incarcerated, tortured, murdered. It doesn't just happen in one place. It happens all over the place, all over the world, that there are injustices being committed. So what do you think, for example, I became a teacher at a German school from Myanmar, and I volunteered some time every week to teach students so they could learn German and then have the opportunity with their other qualifications and all that to, to go abroad to study and make their life better in some way. That is something, for example, you can do. You can't go over somewhere and tear weapons out of people's hands who are bent on using them. You can't as a single person, but you can make a positive difference somehow, or you can sign petitions. If you're able to, you can go out and physically, mentally able and healthy enough, you can go out and join a peace march or whatever, for whatever good cause that you believe in. Endless. The list is endless. But it always comes down to reaching out and trying to find some common ground and trying to find a peaceful solution, a loving solution, and not mindless destruction. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to go on it, but it came out. It had to be said, and I think because we've got all these warrior cards here, and and then Durga as well as the warrior. So it's a warrior kind of thing, but reading. But you can also use that energy turn it around and use that constructively. And the way you can do that only is with self-reflection. Okay, that's also, again, where the Knight of Swords, the swords is, that's the air element. It's about the intellect, it's about strategy, it's about thoughts and ideas and, learning, things like that. So think about how you can act to bring about a positive result, and also be aware, look at yourself, be aware what kind of energy you put in there. Okay, so one love to all of you, wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you're from, as whatever you identify yourself with, believe in, or whatever. I send you so much love from my heart, with all my heart, and I wish you a very, very constructive week, with, even if you have struggles, with a positive outcome at the end that, make you pause and think and not go on witch hunts, please. Because that happens quite quickly as well. When you think of old movies like the Dracula movies or something, and you see all these farmers going with their pitchforks and, and this is like, or you think of, of witch hunts and things like that. So that is like somebody riles up the masses and everybody just goes for it and follows. Ask yourself what the person or people or group who is instigating that, what are their real motives? And the real ones are usually very hidden from you, and maybe want to dig a little bit deeper before you get out your pitchfork. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you always have to turn the other cheek either. Okay, so it's also about boundaries. It's about taking aligned action, being positive, setting a, really saying so far no further, that's not okay anymore, and something has to be done here, and we are going to do something in whichever form or way. That is just as important. Sometimes we do have to fight, but we have to do it intelligently and preferably from a place of balance and alignment rather than just blind rage. Okay, so much love, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Mwah.